out in the season, how you work that together?
Well, I think football, it's more complicated than we all think. I mean, today's day, you get a lot of different looks, a lot of different reactions from defense. Everybody's so much more information out there for coaches. You see so much more stuff. So we're trying to prepare them for everything, and you teach a guy how to fish, right? He can live for a life. And so we're trying to do that. At the same time, we want a standard of how hard we work. And we want to go where our time is. The hard thing with football is that first game's coming, right? And our time is limited. So we try to get every second out of practice we can, okay? And sometimes we got to push it a little bit.
All right, appreciate that. When you feel like you have more guys that can fish this year, it seems like
Yeah, no, it's kind of fun. I mean, we got a bunch of dudes, that can play, and it's fun because it's just trying to see where we keep. The fun thing with this camp's been every day the bars got higher. Every day we've improved. I still think we have a lot of improvement to go, and I think it's a good group of dudes, and there's several guys, a lot of guys that can play, and so we just got to keep practicing hard and keep improving.
When you look back at this time last year versus this time 3 weeks into last season, when Phillips and Roches went down back to back, where was your optimism level with those guys, and how much changed without them?
Well, I'm really an optimistic person. I don't know if that means anything, but no, I think I think the nature of the guys on this team is they want to compete, they want to play. We're so much further advanced in understanding the offense, understanding football. We're talking about things we never talked about last year, even came close. We have so much more of the offense in right now. So, optimistic, yeah, but also at the same time, we got a lot of work to do,
What did those injuries do in terms from a structural standpoint and from a depth standpoint?
It was hard. It was hard. I mean, we were down at, the portal got us pretty bad, and then we knew going into the season we had to stay healthy, and then we didn't stay healthy. And so we're throwing true freshmen out there that bless their souls, did a great job, but they weren't ready for that yet. And so that's the neat thing is this is, you talk about depth. I don't know what the depth is because I don't know who the starters are. We got some guys that can play, and then feel confident about putting them out there. They're going to go compete. Again, we still got to keep raising the bar with them and see how good we can get as a group. But it's a lot more comforting knowing that won't happen again.
With Gavin and Dewey, the guys have been around and sort of been on the cusp at different points. Different things have happened, whether they're a little young or hurt. Just do you notice with them sort of finally being ready now is there hunger with them, an elevated hunger with those two guys specifically after?
I think those two. I think the whole group. There's a lot of guys that they want to play, and they're working hard to play. And like I said, every day we get a little better. Now they're tired, and you bring up about getting out there. We talk about bringing energy every day, and that's all we ask is they come out and give us their best energy. We'll get better every day.
I know you just mentioned that you don't know starters 100% yet, but is there anyone that you're confirmed, like this guy's going to be a starter?
Honestly, not. I mean, I knew I was going to get asked this when I came here, so I was kind of like, if I could. We still have we have a scrimmage Saturday. I think that's big. It's how to me, the scrimmage is our games, and how did they react to the first scrimmage? Okay, this guy played good, this guy did. Okay, now second, how's it going to react? I think we'll know some more on Saturday, and then I think it's going to be a process through the year, too.
Jonathan mentioned, too, that one of the big things that you're trying to identify, I guess, Brian as well, is who fits where. How much and where are you guys kind of maybe moving the different pieces around up front right now? And how much do you want to get to a static point?
I'd like to get to that static point. Right now, we're moving a lot of guys, right to left. Some guys play guard, jump in at center, tackles both sides, jumping to both sides. There's a comfort in getting to work with someone a bunch, being in one spot. I think we'd like to get to that point, but then also, the flexibility, if something does happen, and we went through that last year where we had to move guys and go play, and so I think we'll be a little bit more prepared that way. And again, I think it's you want to get your 5 best guys out there, or If it's 8 guys, we're gonna get those 8 guys out there and rotate them and put them in the best spots we can.
When you're separating ones and twos, what are the sort of non-negotiable traits that you're looking for in a starter? Like, what are the things that make those guys stand out from the other 10?
Well, the non-negotiables is, you can't have penalties, dumb penalties, right? They're gonna call a holding call every now and then, but you can't have dumb penalties. We can't have false starts, and we can't miss assignments.
Staying with that same question, I was gonna ask, when does that change as the calendar moves on? What are you willing to accept now that you won't accept going forward?
I don't know if there's anything. I think as we look at it, we just always want to keep constant state of improvement. If we just keep getting a little better every day, and teams are that way. Everybody wants to say, this is the team on the first game. Teams either do this or they do this. You either get better as the season goes on or you get worse. And so I think if we have the right growth mentality, I think then if we don't start a guy the first game and he gets better and he's the best guy the third game, then he should start. And that's kind of the way we're approaching it.
You mentioned the first scrimmage. What were your takeaways from your group in the first one, and what do you want to see improve scrimmage to?
I think just consistency is the number one thing. I think we can play a little bit more aggressive and a little faster. We've been throwing a lot of stuff at them, which is good. So when they hear something during the season, they've already done it, which is we weren't able to do that last year. The tough part of that is they're doing a lot. There's a lot on them right now. Every day we put more install on and those things. So I think it's just the consistency and really it's who gets the job done, right?
This counter-scheme plan, we don't think we've talked about this in our other things, mentioned him a lot, or heard a lot about him. How's he doing in that adjustment that we sort of mentioned?
He's doing pretty well. He came from a similar system that they ran. So some of the techniques, some of that's come easier to him, where other things have been a little tougher. So, I mean, everybody's their own, but he's had a good fall camp.
From a physical standpoint, how have Phillips and Broaches, and also delicacies? I think he's one of those guys that kind of gets lost because of all the
Yeah.
injuries in his career, but he came in with a lot of hype, a lot of talent. Like, how have those guys physically responded?
I don't, and you look at them, and there were significant injuries last year. I don't see them as, I don't look at them and think about injuries anymore. I don't think they play and think about injuries anymore. You don't notice it, so that's a good thing.
Rotation-wise, how deep do you want to be as far as a rotation?
It's an interesting point, and and I've always said this: if we have a couple guys that are close, then let's rotate them, and let's see where they're at. Coach Smith's always also big on playing other guys. If you can get guys at the end of the season, you want to have healthy guys, and so if you can rotate some guys and not have a drop off. At the end of the season, your guys are fresher and better able to function.
It's a position group that I think for a lot of people cover the program for a decade, or you probably hear it all the time with fans too. There's not a lot of faith. It's sort of a show me situation. Do you sort of understand where people are at on that?
I don't listen to the noise. To me, I know there's some great history of offensive lines at Michigan State in the past, and I've been fortunate. I've met some dudes that have played here that I wouldn't want to mess with. That was pretty cool. But I think it's about us. It's about us going doing our job. It's about us getting better every day. I think I got a group of guys. It's fun to coach them. I think they want to be really good. I think they're willing to work and study and do all those things to be really good. But we just got to keep making that progress, and then we'll see. Sometimes offensive lines get, like quarterbacks, get too much credit and get too much blame too. So.
Who are the guys taking on leadership roles in that room? Probably Stanton as well.
Yeah, Stanton, experience. There's a lot of them, and it's. I wouldn't say there's a leader. I think there's a bunch of guys that are, and I think this team's doing a good job of helping each other. So I don't. To me, there's not a. The alpha dog in the room. I think there's a bunch of guys that are in that role. So.
And then Luka being a guy that you've had before.
Yeah,
he's a good fit for them.
he's been great, just helping, and he's able to, this is what it means, this is what it should look like, and some of that stuff. And I think it's just a good group of young men, really is. Fun group to coach. Now we got to go, because when the bullets start flying, things get hard. And we haven't been through that yet, and so.
That blend of experience with you, when you guys brought in some guys, and you got Carrots, young talent like Stan. How have you tried to, I guess, juggle that with adding from the portal, but also getting that next wave ready?
Yeah, and I would rather not bring guys in the portal. In hindsight, we probably should have been more active in it a year ago because we kind of got decimated in the portal when we first got here, or even before we got here. At the same respect, you know, I think it's important if you're gonna have to fill in spots, and I think we did a great job with the guys we brought in, not just as football players, but the people, the character, the teammates to help everyone else be better.
But when you do go shopping in the portal, and I think that's probably the best way to describe it, I mean, you lost some guys at the end of spring ball, going into last year. Is it more difficult to kind of find the guys that can play at this level that deep into a cycle?
Yes. Yeah, I think it is. After the spring, and it's hard to bring a guy in. And Luke Newman's a great example. Now, Luke didn't come in until fall camp last year and did an incredible job. You know, the guys that came in the spring, they're so much further ahead of where Luke would be right now. Not that he couldn't play, he's a full player. So.
How different is the offensive line in that portal culture versus like receiver or whatnot? Because it used to be, historically, it was a place where guys recruited early, they wanted to go someplace, be comfortable. You didn't see a lot of transferring, that sort of thing. How much has it evolved into some of what the other positions are, and how much is it still a developmental?
This whole thing's evolved. I mean, as you guys know, it's evolving every day, you know, and things are different. I felt pretty good. We went through spring and really didn't lose a lineman, you know, and they all, trust me, they all have options or opportunities. You know, to me, if we can build a culture here where the players buy in to us and their teammates, you know, then it's going to be hard for them to ever want to leave. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do.
You touched on the injury side of things earlier, and I'm curious, when you talk about guys not having it way over them, that's like the last corner you have around coming back. How do guys get to that?
You just got to go. And that's the hardest thing. You talk about somebody who had a knee surgery, right? There's the physical recovery. You're back to normal, but then there's the mental recovery too. Is this going to happen again? What happens if I step the wrong way? Or, you know, and I think it's just getting confidence and you know, the medical staff does a great job of, you know, progressing guys. You don't just go from crutches to, okay, you're fine, go. They have a whole progression they go through. But then there's also that football part of it, you know, wondering if you're going to get rolled up again or something's going to happen.
Does it just prepare that, or is it a situation from a mental standpoint that you have to get into a game to kind of?
I think camp does. I think, you know, and I guess, you know, the biggest thing I preach all the time is, you know, we're going to practice how we play, and then we can just go play how we practice. If we have to change something on game day, then we didn't practice the right way. And so, no, that's it.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you think people realize how beat up you guys get throughout the course of the season?
No.
Like, it's so,
No.
people overlook
You
it
know,
so much.
I think it's, you know, it's a testament to the will and the deal. And again, we're not talking about injuries, but there's hurts. Everybody's, you know, in the game of football, that kind of goes with it. You know, the toughness, the perseverance, all those things, it's kind of makes it special, you know, and especially the other part of it is playing for each other, right? We're still a team. That's what's the great thing about football. It's still the ultimate team game. And so a great team can beat a bunch of great individuals every day.
Raheem, positionally, when you look down the line with him, is he still working at tackle, or is he a guy you can
We've been flexing around with him a little bit, you know. I actually playing him a little bit at center, trying to get him acclimated to that position, just as a skill set, where he can be. You know, that's probably the hardest learning curve position to play. There's a lot mentally put on him, and, you know, you got to be able to throw a strike every time with a 300-pound guy breathing on you. You know, that's a little bit of the work. So he's been improving at that, but, you know, he's still a young kid and still learning, you know.
check out a lot of different players, I guess, for him?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.